Hi guys, welcome to the show. Today we have with us Neeta Nair, who in the year gone by delighted the entire country and beyond, the subcontinent, the larger part of Asia, including China, delighted us with an ad the likes of which has never been created, at least in this country. India में इससे अच्छा कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता है. So we are talking about the absolutely dazzling ad for Walk Talk from Viva, which she created, and she has such great insights about China and how it works in a cultural conjunction with the
So
country.
he's saying all these nice things because Ashish Khazanchi has created that amazing ad.
Enormous has created this ad. Yeah.
Humble. Enormous has created this ad. And no Chinese were harmed in the making of this ad, right?
Lots of Chinese were harmed in making this ad.
I'm sure you Indianized most of them, they're still reeling from that impact.
Yeah. A lot of them now know a lot of, swear words from the continent.
They see swear words.
Yeah.
Fabulous. But tell me, and firstly, congratulations for cracking up an entire country with that particular ad. Tell us, how did you think of that concept and what was that aha moment for you?
I wish I had, a very long story to tell you. I mean, while the client was briefing us, they're very passionate about, creating food, which they famously say, Viraj famously says that I want to create foods which people in my household, my kids can have. Right, so they'd gone the entire length of creating. It took them 2 years to create this product, which is actually free of MSG. It doesn't have any MSG, doesn't have any ingredients which may contain MSG and all of that. It has no maida, right? It's not like, fiber is that it's made with atta. It's a terribly tough process to make noodles which have that kind of consistency and all of that. So they've done all of that, but they're very equally passionate about creating a snack which not only would be healthy, but it very faithfully represents, mirrors the kind of food that we have, the Chinese food that we have in the streets of India, and we absolutely love, right? The chow mein and Manchurian and all that.
Yeah, Chinese thela, the fragrance of it and all of that.
So the rich flavor of it, the very Indianized way of having Chinese. While they were telling us that was the moment of everything for us out there, we didn't let it known. Otherwise, they would have cut our fee by half because it. Right. So we already started brewing that idea right there in the meeting itself, because it's that simple. The hardest part to the truth is not necessarily, the most correct truth. Something which is so elegant, right? It's probably the truth because it's simple, right? So we got to that. And then we also made sure that all the things that were to be told about the goodness of the ingredients and all of that, we did a lot of shoulder content around it. That also got communicated. But the big thing which would move the country would be the taste of a snack, right? So it's impulse, it's snack. So you don't go to a snack, you don't go to an impulse kind of a food, because it'll make you healthier, it'll make your skin glow like it is right now in this kind of light for me.
He's eating that snack.
Yeah. So it doesn't do any of that. When you have that kind of a motivation, what you need is a great tasting snack, right? Because it's a little bit of a reward for yourself. It's a little bit of, breaking of the monotony, a little bit of a spike in your daily routine and all of that. So taste is what we're going to, lead the charge with. And then we did stuff around it which would get all the other micro stories also about the health and taste and stuff, and all the health and the ingredient stories and all of that. But this was it, right? So this was it, which would get the most number of people excited. Yeah, don't tell them this. They'll cut a fee in half in retrospect.
But for an ad like this, apart from the script, of course, the characterization and the expressions most of all are key. How did you go about picking these characters, and were they all Chinese nationals who actually came?
They were all Chinese people. We actually, on a shoestring, we had to get out of the country and actually shoot the ad in Thailand because there were not enough number of Chinese people in the country who we could use for shoots, actors and interesting faces and all of that. So we went to Thailand and we sourced people of Chinese origin in Thailand, so we could shoot the film out there. A lot of execution is also Sukriti, who was the director of the film, who added to it. But we were very clear, right? So it was a thin line, right? That it should not get to a place where it may be offensive to either the Chinese or the Indians, right? Yeah. For the Indians, that you're taking our mannerisms and you're making fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or for the Chinese that, you getting us to do something which is not inherently us and all that. So we had to add a lot of joy to everything that was happening, right? Therefore the track, therefore the little lilt in their, step and their walk and all of that, the way their shoulders are swaying and all of that. It was all a part of a design that it is something that anyway, for the audience also gives a lot of joy, but it also balances that fine line very, very well.
And were there any memorable moments from the shoot, the sets which you did in Thailand?
The bowling, right? So something that comes so very natural to every single Indian. That's why that sequence was there in that, right? So it was not one of the big sequences, but it was something which was interesting. Now a thumka comes very naturally to all Indians. We've grown up on that, right?
Yeah.
So a huge diet of Bollywood, a huge diet of Madhuri Dixit and so on and so forth. The bowling, which would think, you'll have an overarm, the shoulder kind of a bowling, and then the action would be so natural, you can teach it in like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It just would not happen.
Okay.
It just would not happen. It doesn't, maybe they've lost the freedom of movement of that joint. It just doesn't happen. It'll be like absolutely flabbergasted. That was interesting. It was fun to see, all of that happening. The Nagin dance in Thailand,
Bharat.
done by
Very
Chinese
cool.
people. It was nuts, right?
But
It was 1 in the night. Yeah, but to see people dancing with that much gusto, take after take after take, a Nagin dance was nuts.
And another thing I have to say is that the track, the Malabari banger, good lord, that was so unconventional
That was
and
quite a
fitting
yeah.
one. How did you, who came up with that song?
So in Spotify rap, that's my top song of the year, and not because after the ad, I heard it more.
Before or after?
It was my everything track, right? So there were n number of pieces of music that you'd hear. This was the top of the playlist for me for a large part of the year. I always wanted to use. I have a list of tracks that I want to use at various places and all that, because I really think they push the narrative in a very big way. They push the enjoyment of an ad in a very big way. This was one of those tracks which I was holding on to. This presented an opportunity where you'd get desi flavor, but it's not a super tried, tested advertising
Formula,
trope of Daler Mehendi sort of a thing happening. This gave a lot of freshness to the track, to the film, and thank you to all the people who had that track, for us to use.
And what was the reaction when you first aired this ad? Like, what kind of audience response did you get?
It was like, this is pretty evident, right? So we loved it.
Is there one particular comment that you really is close to your heart?
I actually showed it to a close advertising marketing professional, and he saw this and he did this and he laughed for a minute and all that. Tum log bhi na, right? I was like, holy shit, we crossed the line or something or what? But we clearly hadn't. So it was
But
great.
honestly, this is one of those ads which you can watch over and over again and still start.
The music
end up
has
laughing.
a lot to do with it.
Totally.
And also, there are a little bit of Easter eggs, right? So you don't notice them in first go. The fact that they are doing a Nagin dance is very evident. The fact that the guy joins her in that Nagin dance, now it seems pretty self-evident, but you don't get it in the first go, right? So there are Easter eggs hidden there, which every passing view, it doesn't get old, right? There is stuff for you to discover. So yeah, so
So now when we see it's a great ad, but when you actually pitch it to the client back then, were there any apprehensions, like you mentioned, it shouldn't offend anybody
most
on
definitely,
any side?
most definitely. So this was an ad that we had presented, loved across the board and everything. But we did actually, think that we should explore a little bit more, because what if it, sets fire to the tinderbox and things happen. So I was very clear that's one, not the intent, right? So there is a very, you're approaching this with a lot of honesty and not, coming in with making fun of either the Indians or the Chinese people and all that. Then there is always the craft of it, the execution of it, which would make sure that we stay in the line. I really think a joke, if it really actually makes you laugh or make you smile and all that, honestly, you can get away with murder also, right? We didn't commit any murder that we had to get away from. But if it executed wrong, so
Go ahead.
we wouldn't have been having this conversation.
And you know, with this ad, and I think a bunch of other ads, I think the Lahoris era and a few other ads, do you think you've kind of helped humor come back to Indian advertising?
We are nobody to, I think humor never left Indian advertising. Lots and lots and lots of ads which, I mean, I have an eye open for any ad which makes an impact, whether it's emotional, whether it's humor. I don't think humor ever went away. I think we've begun to do it fairly well. So you probably see a lot of it coming from the same shop. It never went away and all that, but happy to still keep the fires burning and all that. So yeah.
So while we love this ad and many other ads, which
मैं humble आदमी हूँ, मैं बता रहा हूँ ऐसा.
you also gave me credit for the ad. So
after the camera is turned
humble.
off, I may tell you a completely different story.
But thank you so much, Ashish. It was a fabulous ad, and we really look forward to seeing
Thank
much
you so very
more.
much. I hope there are many more such conversations in the future.
And you are on the impact cover forever.
Oh yeah, all the the whole fan of all those images, which is all enormous people, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the 10 ads.
Totally. Thank you so much, Ashish.
Thank you, Neeta. Thank you for having us.
Okay. Boy, you're a banger. Malabari ganger. Emmachara kitty boy. Kambu chulli mano. Then I got a biggin boy. Kannum putti paadum. This the brown color chip. Ma pillar drip. Right from the top, boy. That legit. What's the chain on your neck, boy? Kafi legit. Just in case when you hit, boy. Kafi legit. This the brown color chip. Ma pillar drip. Right from the top, boy. That legit. Just in case when you hit, boy. Kafi legit. Hey.
चाइनीज पर अपने स्टाइल से, वैसे जैसे वॉक टॉक के नए इंस्टेंट नूडल्स, 5 डिफरेंट फ्लेवर्स पर अपने स्टाइल से. वॉक टॉक, टेस्टी चाइनीज, यस प्लीज.